to the Senate. You guys know how long I've been around. I had really hoped I'd be able to hand over to my successor the majority. I've been the majority leader, I've been the minority leader. The majority is a lot better. And I think, based on the fact that we haven't got all the results in, we certainly already know we're going to be in the majority. We're hopeful that that might actually grow some. And I want to give particular credit to Steve Daines. I had that job at the NRSC a few years back. I've never seen a better performance. He focused on getting quality candidates, making sure they actually got the nomination. And as I said, to some criticism, candidate quality is absolutely essential. I also am proud of the job that Senate Leadership Fund and its related groups did. Overall, they were able to raise $425 million, and they made decisions to invest in, I think, all the right places. I'll just run it down for you. They spent $29 million in Maryland, $42 million in Michigan, $60 million in Montana, $3.3 million in Nebraska, $12.8 million in Nevada, $133 million in Ohio, $82.7 million in Pennsylvania, $30 million in Wisconsin, and $3 million in West Virginia. So clearly what they were doing over there is focusing on the places where we had the best chance to win, and I think the results pretty much prove they made a lot of wise decisions. So with that, I'll be happy to see what you want to talk about.
Senate Republicans will have 54, 55, maybe even 56 seats before this is done. You have been an advocate of maintaining the filibuster. The former president, now the president-elect.
You know, I'm glad you raised that.
And what will you do outside of the leadership now to continue to advocate on that if there are forces here who try to get there?
I'm really glad you raised that. I should have covered that before. I think one of the most gratifying results of the Senate becoming Republican, the filibuster will stand. There won't be any new states admitted that give a partisan advantage to the other side. And we'll quit beating up the Supreme Court every time we don't like a decision they make. So I think this shifting to a Republican Senate majority helps control the guardrails to keep people who want to change the rules in order to achieve something they think is worthwhile is not successful. And so I think the filibuster is very secure. Yep.
Leader McConnell, practically speaking, what does having a 52 or 53 seat majority mean for getting Trump's agenda through the Senate compared to a 50 or 51 seat? And does this mean maybe you expand the agenda beyond the Trump tax cuts to explore other things, and what might those things be?
Well, we hear optimistic reports of what may have happened in the House, and obviously, if you were going to legitimately work around the filibuster, it would be through reconciliation. And so I think we'd be obviously more successful if we flip the House. And Speaker, I think, put out a statement saying he's optimistic. I hope that's the case.
In March, you blamed former President Trump, President-elect Trump, and his inner circle on the delay to Ukraine aid. Are you confident that he's the best person to do deter our adversaries?
Yeah, look, I'm here this morning to talk about the election, and I think I'm going to largely confine it to that.
Mr. McConnell,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about what you expect your role to be next year?
My own?
When you're not in leadership? I know you've talked about foreign policy. You've got J.D. Vance as the vice president. He's obviously got diverging views from you on foreign policy.
Well,
what is your goal going to be over the next 2 years?
Okay. I'm not going to speculate about what anybody else may be doing. I thought your question was what I was going to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to concentrate on defense and foreign policy. I think this is the most dangerous time since right before World War II. Our adversaries, North Koreans, Chinese, Russians, Iran, and Iran's proxies are all talking to each other. They have one thing in common: they hate us, and they want to diminish our role in the world. It may seem old-fashioned to some, but I'm still a Reagan Republican who thinks that America's role in the world is absolutely indispensable. Even if you're concerned about cost, it'd be interesting to know that at the height of World War II, 37% of our gross domestic product was being spent on the war. 37%. And we lost over 400,000 Americans. The Reagan buildup, without a shot being fired, was about 6% of GDP. We're currently spending 2.7. We need to ramp up defense spending in order to prevent a direct conflict with our adversaries. It's a lot cheaper to prevent war than it is to have one. And so that's the focus I'm going to have for the next couple of years.
Senator McConnell, will you, do you plan to chair the appropriations subcommittee?
I haven't made a decision. I'm hoping as former leader, guys will care what I think anyway, and I don't think it'll have anything to do with committee assignments. Yeah.
Are you anticipating any moves from the Democrats in the lame duck weeks coming up here?
Well, we are going to have to figure out how to finish up the year, and that always involves a conversation between Senator Schumer and myself as to how we wrap it up, but those conversations haven't started yet. Yeah.
Just a week before this election, your biography was released. And it included a lot of sharp criticisms of President Trump. Do you stand by those criticisms?
Yeah, I'm not here to do a book review this morning. Yeah.
Next week, your colleagues will choose the next majority leader. What should they take away from last night when they vote for the next leader?
What can I take from last night?
What should your colleagues take from last night when they choose the next leader?
Candidate quality is essential. Absolutely essential. And I think we had the best candidates everywhere yesterday.
You've been the majority leader in this situation with narrow majorities in the House and Senate. How challenging do you think it's going to be to keep the Republican Party together if you end up with full control?
Well, you're a bit of a student of history, Burgess. Since senators became popularly elected in 1914, my party's never had more than 55. Democrats had massive majorities during the 30s, during LBJ, during Barack Obama. So obviously, the higher we get, the better. But this is not 60 votes, which is what they had at the beginning of President Obama. So I think we did pretty well with narrow majorities during the previous administration. 3 new Supreme Court justices, 54 new circuit judges, comprehensive 30-year overdue tax reform. Yeah, I mean, it's harder, but I think we were successful before with a narrow majority.